some of our more restorative positions. So grabbing anything that you need. And then finding a comfortable position for you. So what does that mean this evening? Back of the body, on the side of the body. Extending through the legs maybe, or perhaps you want to bend the knees. You might want to support the head. So just heading down to the mat. Finding a comfortable position. Unlike any of our shapes, our asana, you don't have to get there straight away. So you might get down to the earth, have a little bit of a stretch and move, kind of be deciding what is your comfortable position for this evening. Or it might be something that actually your body just goes, yup, and you find it quite quickly. So beginning our practice close to the earth, supported by the earth, in a state of being grounded and present. Maybe you close the eyes, or maybe that's not something that works for you within a practice. So really important to remember that anything that I say is a suggestion, it's an invitation, it's not an order, you know, it's just perhaps you want to try this, maybe you want to try that. You are in charge of your own class, your own body. And how's the body feeling? Friday evening, in this moment, how does the body feel? So we're not using this as kind of judgment or critique of our body. Maybe words spring to mind, maybe it's just feelings, it could be associated colours. If anything is a little bit sensitive, you know, just being mindful of that, not telling ourselves, oh, I've got a bad knee, I've got a bad back. Just saying, you know, oh, I must remember to be mindful of my right knee. That was for me, because I do have a sore right knee. But, you know, it's not a bad knee, it's just my knee. Being aware then of the mind. How's the mind feeling Friday evening? Again, we're not critiquing, we're not judging, and we're remembering that our practice is a safe space for anything. Trying to practice non-attachment. Parigraha, it's called in our yoga practice. Can we be with the thoughts in the mind, but not attach, not create a story and a narrative? And then being with the breath. How's the breath feeling Friday evening? I just thought to myself, it is Friday, right? But I'm pretty sure it is. So again, we're not judging, we're just noticing. This is how, you know, this is part of our practice, connecting to the body, to the breath, to the mind, unifying these things. And remembering that the breath is in much greater space than just through the front of the body. So sometimes just associated through the front of the body, but we can feel it around the sides of the body as we breathe into the ribs, the back of the body. If the back's on the earth, there can be gentle movement there. And maybe you even experience it into the lower part of the body and out into the arms, the tips of the fingers, down to the toes, up to the crown of the head. Breathing in a way that works for you, just like we're going to move in a way that works for you. Start to take a nice full body stretch. So exploring the space above the head, extending the legs down onto the mat if that feels okay. Maybe pointing the toes, then flexing the feet. Maybe we sweep the arms a little bit wider if we've got space. And bring them down by the side of the body. Stepping the feet onto the mat, then bringing the knees in towards us. Doesn't have to be to belly or chest. I'm going to take mine out a little bit wider because it's more comfortable. Just having a soft roll from side to side. And eventually rolling over onto one side of the body. Pressing down through the hand, lifting the body all the way up. You find your version of a comfortable seat. Doesn't have to be Sukhasana with the legs crossed. Might be legs extended, might be legs wide. Sitting tall, so crown of the head to the sky, seat down onto the ground, bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra or prayer. In some of my classes, we've been working with Lotus Mudra, so this is opening out through the 3 fingers, keeping the thumb and the baby finger together. If that doesn't feel right for you, then just in prayer is fine. Let's take an inhale, lift the gaze up as we lift the prayer or Lotus. As we exhale, take the gaze forward, sweep the arms wide. Inhale, sweep back up, lift the gaze. And as we exhale, draw that mudra down to the heart space, drop the chin to the chest. Inhale, lifting back up. Exhale, sweep wide, explore that space. Inhale, sweeping up, perhaps look up. And exhale, down to the heart space, chin towards the chest. And perhaps you close the eyes or just soften the gaze. As we take a moment there, for you it might be connecting to breath, or it may be connecting with an affirmation, a mantra, a word. So it could be something, I am present. I've been working lately with I am happy, I am healthy. So if anything resonates with you, just holding that in the mind and the heart space, perhaps repeating it. Present tense, if it's already so. Then as we inhale, lifting the hands up towards the sky. As we exhale, drop that left hand down, reach the right fingertips up and over, coming into our side stretch. You can always relax the arm onto the back of the head. You could be using a prop under that left hand. Let's inhale, reach back up, join the hands. And as we exhale, switch sides, right down, left up and over. And remembering you don't have to be still once we find our asana, so you might just be exploring with a little bit of movement. This is what the whole practice is about. Let's take an inhale, lift back up to center, bringing the hands together. And as we exhale, turn to the right hand side, finding our seated twist. So spine is nice and tall, crown of the head to the sky. As we inhale, lift, and as we exhale, just gently roll that right shoulder back. And you can gaze wherever is comfortable. So you don't have to take the gaze behind you, you could go in front of you. Trying to soften through the sit bones. Let's take it over to the other side. As we inhale, we turn back to center, lift the hands. And as we exhale, over to that opposite side, making your adjustments there. So it might be a wiggle on the seat, a lift through the spine, a roll of that left shoulder back. Noticing the steadiness of the breath. Inhale, twisting, coming back to center, joining the hands. And as we exhale, just bringing them back to the heart space. And let's find our way onto our hands and knees. So in our tabletop position, however you make it there is fine. Remembering to support your body. So if you need to, you could support the knees with a blanket. You could support the hands with blocks or blanket. Finding a position that for you feels strong and steady. So there's that bit of engagement and that confident strength. Fingers are spread. You could have the toes flat or tuck the toes and get into the soles of the feet. As we inhale, drop the belly, draw the shoulders back, open the heart space, just gazing forwards. As we exhale, push through the ground, arching the spine up to the sky, let the head be heavy, cat and cow. Inhale, thinking of opening up through front and sides of body. And exhale, open up through back of body. So taking 2 more like that in your own breath. And taking an inhale, finding our neutral position, tuck the toes onto the mat if they're not there already, and turn the heels and the inner arch side of the heel towards each other. So rather than letting the feet just flail out to the sides, we're looking for strength. As we inhale, gently lean the body forward, so a little bit of pressure into the wrists as long as that feels okay. As we exhale, push the seat down towards the heels, doesn't have to meet. Let's inhale, just come back up, a little bit of pressure into the wrists. Exhale, push the seat back. One more like that as we inhale, shifting the weight forwards. And as we exhale, pushing seat to heels. So keeping the hands where they are if we can. We've set that foundation. Shoulders are away from ears. So we've got a nice broad upper back in front of chest. Let's lift the knees, push the seat nice and high, shifting weight back in towards the back of the legs and the heels. Take your feet as wide as you need to. You know, we commonly hear the instruction hip distance, but for me, that's not always comfortable. I like to go wider. I find it creates more space in my spine. Maybe you want to have a little bit of a walk out here. So you might be drifting the gaze from side to side, lifting one heel and the other. Then as we inhale, let's start to bring the hands towards the toes. Take an exhale, forward fold. Then inhale, lift the gaze, sweep the arms wide. Bring the hands up towards the sky. As we exhale, sweep the arms wide, finding Tadasana. So maybe you need to step the feet wider. Again, we hear like feet together. You know what? That's not comfy for everyone. So step to that position of strength. Just have a little move and a shake off of anything if you need to. And then gazing forwards or perhaps closing the eyes. Softness to the face, to the shoulders, but strengthening through lower body. So like we spread the fingers, perhaps you can feel like you can spread the toes. Maybe the pelvis moving forward slightly and the little squeeze of the bum cheeks gives you strength through the legs, but this is for everyone to explore themselves. So to tilt the pelvis forward might not necessarily be comfortable for everyone. Let's gently blink the eyes open. As we inhale, sweep the arms out wide, lifting the hands to a prayer. As we exhale, soften the knees, fold the body forwards. Let's take an inhale, find our halfway lift position. So you could be on blocks, you could slide the hands up. We draw the shoulders back, crown of the head points forwards. Stay there if you don't like inversions, or as you exhale, fold the body forwards. Again, you can still have hands on blocks, releasing the spine and the back of the neck. Pressing through the feet, lift the gaze, sweeping the arms wide, Finding our hands to the sky. And as we exhale, releasing them down by the side of the body. Tadasana. Just finding our breath. Inhale, sweep wide, lift up, maybe look up. Exhale down the center of the body. Hands to blocks or earth. Inhale, finding our halfway position. So here's where we kind of like strengthen up through the body, lengthen through arms and legs. Then as we exhale, perhaps folding forwards, Uttanasana. And walking the hands forwards here to come back into our downward facing dog. Shifting the seat nice and high. As we inhale this time, move the weight of the body forwards. As we exhale, walk or step the toes to the backs of the wrists. Lift the gaze as we inhale, sweep the arms wide, hands to our mudra. And as we exhale, down by the side of the body. Maybe close the eyes. Feel that kind of pull of the crown of the head up to the sky. So it feels like lengthening through the back and sides of the neck. Not gripping the toes to the earth if we can help it. We're just placing, spreading. How do we strengthen up through lower body, but find softness through upper body? Breathe in there. Let's take an inhale, open the eyes, sweep the arms wide, hands above the head. As we exhale, folding forwards, hands or fingertips to earth or blocks. So soften into the knees, stepping that right foot back. Drop the knee down, let the top of the foot hit the earth, and then walk or slide the hands in towards you so that they're in line with the arch of that foot. Gently lifting up here, so coming onto the thigh if that feels appropriate. Another good alternative if you've got a block is to have one hand down onto your block. And then if you wish, take an inhale, sweep the arms wide, lift up, find a crack. Exhale down to the heart space. Inhale, sweeping wide. And exhale. One more time like that, nice. Inhale, so finding that focus. And exhale. Just gazing forwards for a moment, hands down towards the heart space, prayer, lotus, or if you'd rather not practice mudra, you can release them. And finding a block, if you have one, is always useful for the right side of the body. Take that left foot out towards the edge. So we want to create this nice space. Planting down the right hand onto your block, shoulder over wrist. As you inhale, turn and open that left side. So the right hand can come onto hip or lower back. You might find there's a little bit of opening through that left knee. That's fine, as long as it's not forced through the hip space. Maybe you lift the left fingertips up to the sky. Maybe you don't bother. So always kind of asking, like, is this bringing anything to my twist? Or is it just a hand in the sky? I don't know. That's completely up to you. Breathe in there. Remembering the gaze doesn't have to shift up either, so the gaze could be wherever is comfortable. Let's take an inhale, and as we exhale, turn the body back towards the front of the mat, just taking both hands inside that left foot. Take an inhale, find a little bit of lift, and as you exhale, a little bit of softness, so the hands could be on props. If the head is okay to be heavy, letting the crown of the head come down towards the ground, so not literally touching, just that direction. Feeling that pressure through the left side of the body, maybe a little stretch through the right quad. Let's inhale, lift the gaze forwards. Releasing from your prop if you have it, bringing the hands inside the foot, lifting that back knee, stepping the front foot back, and I'm going to drop to my knees, but my knees are behind my hips. Shoulders are over the wrists. Lift the toes away from the earth and point them to the sky if that feels comfy. So we'll notice like the heaviness of the pelvis would just have us drop down. We're trying to resist that, so we're lifting belly button up into low back, like I'm pulling you here and keeping that lifted and engaged. As we inhale, we move forward. So that kind of move that we did at the beginning, shoulders over the wrist, drop the toes down. As we exhale, slowly coming down to the ground. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, just gently open the heart space. Exhale, forehead or chin to earth. Inhale back into our baby cobra, open heart space. And exhale. Then tuck the toes, press through the hands, taps on the earth, seat comes towards the heels. Keeping the arms extended, press into the soles of the feet, let the gaze drift towards the ground. Couple of breaths there. And then let's settle ourselves into a more restorative position, into our child's pose. So taking the knees out wide, nuzzle the seat in towards the heels first. And the forehead doesn't even have to come into it, doesn't have to meet the earth. You might rest on forearms, let the head be heavy, but have something to support the head if you're folding it forwards. So making child's pose your own. And we'll take a couple of minutes here. So you've got time to shuffle and adjust if you need to. If in honesty, this is a position that really doesn't work for you, then you could always come over onto the back of the body. Instead, take the knees out wide. You could be holding the knees, or you could place a strap along the shins, just turning the toes in towards each other. Maybe you close the eyes or just soften the gaze. I'm going to take another minute here. So mixing that kind of yin and yang energy, creating a little bit of heat and fire with our flow. And then slowing, cooling down as we restore. Ready for the other side. And remembering if you need longer in child's pose, you're more than welcome to that. This is your practice, so you decide what works for you. Last couple of breaths. Nice and slowly, in the way that works for you, bringing the body back into your tabletop position. So just adjusting back of body. I know we say shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, but again, you know, that's like a guideline for strength, but everybody is different, so the back of your body might go wider. Let's press down with the hands as we inhale, let the belly drop, open the heart space. As we exhale, round through the spine, head is heavy, just taking 2 more like that. Finding strength in tabletop, tuck in the toes, strengthening through the feet as well. Take an inhale, just slightly shifting the body forwards. As we exhale, push the seat down towards the heels, stretch into the feet. Inhale, lift slightly forwards. And exhale, seat comes down towards heels. One more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Just a moment to prepare yourself, so you don't even have to follow my breath. You could take extra breaths in between, lifting into your downward facing dog. If you can, keep the hands where they are. Step the feet to a comfortable distance. Is this downward facing dog about moving or about stillness? Shifting that weight into the back of the body. So if you feel like the wrists are really taking a bit of a battering, maybe it's that lean forward that you've got. So really soften knees, push energy up into seat. As you inhale, start to walk the hands in towards the toes. Take an exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms wide, lifting up, hands above the head. As you exhale, release them down by the side of the body. Just making any little adjustments. Step into your appropriate distance, Tadasana. Maybe close the eyes, maybe just soften the gaze. Blinking the eyes open as we inhale, sweep the arms wide, hands above the head. As we exhale, soften the knees, folding the body forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Walking the hands back towards the top of the mat as we find downward facing dog. Inhale to shift the weight of the body forward, step, walk or jump the toes towards the backs of the wrists. Remember, it could be wider than hip distance. Lift the gaze as you inhale, power through the legs. Come all the way up, hands above the head. And as you exhale, sweep the arms wide. Tadasana. So bringing strength to lower body, softness to upper body. How do you do that? It's going to be completely individual. Let's take an inhale, sweep wide, lift up, look up if you wish. Exhale down through the midline of the body. Inhale, lifting halfway, feeling that length and strength. And as you exhale, planting fingertips or palms down. This time, stepping that left foot back. Drop the knee down, release the foot, bringing the hands in towards you. As you inhale, lifting up onto maybe thigh, maybe onto blocks. Just settling there for a moment. Of course, you're welcome to stay there if you wish. Or perhaps as you inhale, you sweep the arms wide. You could lift the gaze, find a prayer or lotus. As you exhale down to the heart space, gaze is forwards. 2 more just in your own time. If you like that, if you don't, then you could stay still. Just taking a moment there. So never any rush, or definitely not in my classes anyway. Taking a block if we've got one or a prop. This time placing it on that left side, planting down with the hands. So we do shoulder over wrist again from a strength point of view. As we inhale, just turning and opening to that right hand side. You might need to take that right foot wider. So the body will kind of instruct you in its own way. Just drawing that right shoulder back, shifting the gaze where it feels comfortable. Perhaps you press down through left hand, reach up with right, but that's completely up to you. Settling in a space that feels comfortable for you. Breathe in there. Take an inhale wherever you are. As you exhale, bringing both hands down inside that right foot. And the toes might be forward, the toes might turn out. So, you know, dependent on how your hip responds to external rotation, we don't force anything. Let's take a little bit of an inhale, prepare us lift. And as we exhale, just gently soften. So we're not grappling for the earth. Making sure if it's a little bit intense on that back knee, we maybe pop a cushion or a blanket there. Trying not to push the shoulders forwards to the ears. So yes, we're pressing through the hands maybe, but we can draw the shoulders down the back. Let's take an inhale as we lift back towards center. Tuck in the back toes, lift that back knee as we exhale, step back. You're more than welcome to practice high plank. I don't personally at the moment. Or drop the knees, turn the toes up towards the sky. Remember that kind of lifting sensation through the pelvic floor, through the core. Gaze is slightly forwards. As we inhale, lean in slightly. As we exhale, drop the toes, bend the elbows, control to the earth. Pretty strong movement that. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, open the chest. Exhale, forehead or chin to the earth. Inhale, press through hands and feet, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, forehead comes down. Tuck the toes, kneecaps to the earth, press through the hands, push up, and then back into active child's pose just for a couple of breaths. And making our way back into our version of child's pose. So if you prefer, you know, the technically called more restorative one with the knees together, then you can try that. For me, I feel like it restricts the breath around my belly. That's just me. So take that time, that space that the body needs to allow you to settle. When you do, maybe you close the eyes, but maybe you don't. You know, that's not always an experience that everybody wants in their practice. Surrendering into stillness for a couple of minutes. I'm going to take just over another minute here. As with every part of the practice, if this isn't working for you, you could find a variation on the back. You might just want to find a seated position. So always remembering that you have full autonomy of your body and your practice. The last couple of breaths. Let's gently start to shift the body into tabletop. As we inhale, finding our cow position. Slight compression through the spine. As we exhale, opening the spine to the sky. Taking 2 more like that. Tucking the toes onto the mat. Push the seat back towards the heels in your own time, just lifting up into downward facing dog. Exploring that for a moment. And then gently walking the hands back in towards the body. As you exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, lift the gaze, sweep the arms wide, hands above the head. Exhale, release the hands, Tadasana. Maybe close the eyes, maybe soften the gaze, find the position that works for your body. Breathe out. And then gently blinking the eyes open, hands coming onto hips. Maybe shift the feet a little bit closer together, pressing down through that left foot. We're turning and opening to find Vrksasana tree on the right side. So you could use a block, you could use a wall for support, lifting and lengthening through that standing side. Choices, you could bring the hands into prayer, lotus. If you fancy a little bit of movement with that, let's take an inhale, sweep the arms wide, lift the hands up. And as we exhale, come to the heart space. 2 more if that works for you. Softening the shoulders away from the ears. As we inhale, let's turn the knee back to center. We might lift the toes. You might just be tickling the toes onto there. And as you next exhale, release the hands, release the foot, just have a little bit of a move out, shake that off if you need to. So the body will naturally kind of get rid of that energy, disperse it through the body, but it can feel nice just to move it through. And then hands back to where we began. Press down through that right foot, turning onto the left side. So using anything that you need to better support your body, your practice. Lift high with that right hand side. Perhaps inhaling, sweeping wide. As we lift up, we lift through the side of the body. As we exhale, we come to the heart space, picking your focus point. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more movement if you wish. Soften the shoulders and the face. As we inhale, turn that left knee to center, maybe lifting the toes. When you next exhale, releasing, just having that moment to shake out if you need to. Then take an inhale, sweep wide, lift up. Exhale down through the heart space. Soft knees, fingertips or palms to the earth. Walking into our last downward facing dog. So if you've had enough of downward facing dog, maybe you come into a kneeling position. Steady breathing. Let's drop the knees down onto the ground. Just release the feet. Now I'm going to come down onto the front of the body. So dropping onto the forearms, taking the legs back behind us. Maybe crossing the arms so we can hold wrists, forearms, elbows. Resting on the right side of the head or face. If you need a cushion or something to make this more comfy, go for it. Top of the feet to the earth. Then sliding that left left leg out here. So think of a position that we would be like in bed. So we're coming onto the inside edge of that left thigh. The hip and the knee might be in line, the knee and the heel. So a bit of a right angle position. Our half frog. You could always, if it feels comfy, extend the arms out. Then I would recommend using a cushion or something with a little bit of lift under the head, just to bring the head in line with the shoulders. You could, of course, explore the angle of that left leg. What does it do for the sensation of the hip? So trying not to struggle against, but surrendering to. If for you that means that your breasts are really pressing down onto the earth and you don't find it comfortable, then you can always lift up and come onto the forearms a little bit. So it could be like the front of the body is in a soft sphinx, the back of the body in frog. So, you know, never worth like being in a position and just being like, oh God, I'm going to have to force myself to stay here just because this is what I'm being told. No, no, no. We find a way that, you know, the body fits into the practice. And take one more minute here. I'm able to sense that movement of the lower back of the body as the belly gently presses to the earth as we inhale. Last couple of breaths. And we'll gently transfer it over to the opposite side. So we're bringing that left leg in, maybe we're bringing the arms back in, turning the face, the head onto the left side, taking that right knee out. And maybe exploring the angle, maybe exploring what happens with the front of the body. If you feel like you've had enough, you know, sometimes you've had enough. Again, you don't need to force yourself to stay in a position that is just kind of like, no, I don't really like that serving me. But just over another minute on this side. I'm starting to prepare the mind for leaving this position. Letting the body follow, so we'll slide that leg back in. We'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes onto the mat, push the seat up and back towards the heels as we come either into our kneeling position Or if that's not comfy, just switch over to one side and find your Sukhasana position or similar. So make yourself comfortable here, blocks, blankets, what do you need? And we're going to take a couple of minutes in our meditation or concentration practice. So either the crown of the head could be up towards the sky, the spine is long, whatever. Or you might find it's nicer to dip the chin to the chest. You could get a little bit of a stretch through the back of the neck. The hands could be in lotus, prayer. The hands could just be rested on the body. And maybe we bring to mind just a gentle focus now. So if we lose that presence in our practice, what will draw us back? Maybe the breath. Maybe focusing on the tip of the nose, the space between the brows. Maybe focusing on a colour, a word, a mantra in the mind. So a gentle point of focus. If we drift away, we can draw ourselves back in. Nice deep inhale and exhale. Gently blinking the eyes open. Just letting go of that part of the practice. Now we're going to come down onto the mat now. So if you need a little sip of a drink, have that. We'll come down into a side shavasana. So if you've got a pillow or cushion, that'd be great. If you've got something that you can bring between the thighs or the knees, so something soft just feels nicer, but if you've got something that's a bit harder. And right hand side, if that feels okay for your body, you can of course go on the opposite side. So we come down onto the side of the body, extend that arm that is beneath the body, and roll the upper shoulder, so the one that's on top of the body, back a little bit. So we're rolling towards the mid-back. Maybe the chin just gently tucks down towards the chest. Taking a couple of breaths here. And you might be just really nice and comfy here and kind of think, yeah, I'm just going to stay here, this is nice. Or you might want to move this into a supine twist. So gently opening up through that left arm, maybe shuffling the knees if you need to. Bringing both of the shoulder blades in touch with the earth. If that doesn't quite happen, that's also fine though. So you can always cushion under that left shoulder, make it meet the earth. Settling into a position that feels relatively comfortable, that feels like you can relax. You might close the eyes, but then again, you might not. And if you took it into a supine twist, just gently turn the gaze to center, give the knees a little squeeze with whatever you have in between them. Shift back to a neutral spine and then gently guide yourself over to the opposite side. So making the adjustments necessary for that side to find comfort. Settling down. And then releasing any props that you have in between the legs. Just rolling onto the back of the body and finding our Supta Baddha Konasana, that reclined butterfly position. So at that point, you might want to support just the under edges of the thighs. Remember, you're in control, so the heels could be closer to the seat. If it's more restorative, they might be further away. Maybe you're starting to snuggle yourself under a blanket. And you are welcome to stay in this position for Shavasana. That feels like something the body desires, this nice open space, lower body. You're welcome now to just explore any final bits of movement, so anything else that your body craves. Or to change your position nice and gently to find your Shavasana. So it might not be the same position that you started in, but then again it might be. In Yin, we have something called pentacle pose, so like a star shape. So the arms don't go above the head. We're trying to bring the energy down, but the legs can go out wide. The arms can go out to maybe shoulder height. You could cushion the lower back if that lift of the lower back seems like a little bit too much. So allowing yourself these next few moments to just do anything else and then set yourself up for your final resting pose, Shavasana. Closing the eyes if that works for you. Softening the face and the shoulders. Softening the tips of the fingers, the soles of the feet, the tips of the toes. And just as we soften the body, perhaps softening the edges of the mind. So our stiller poses, our stiller practice can in many ways be much more tricky than when we're moving, we're flowing. Where does your attention drift to here? Can you use that gentle focus that you had in your meditation practice? Just allowing natural breath to flow. So letting go now of that urge to change, control, do anything. Settle in to surrender, to just being for a couple of minutes as you take a well-deserved rest. Let's take in a nice deep inhale and exhale, might even be a sigh. Completely up to you now. So you have the option of whether you'd like to spend a little bit more time in Shavasana. You are very welcome to do that. Or if needs must, or if you just feel like moving away from the explore that space around you, explore the reawakening of the body, wiggle the fingers, toes. Just maybe dropping the head from side to side, maybe a stretch here and there, a little roll around, maybe a yawn, or sigh, groan. And eventually rolling over onto whichever side of the body you're drawn to. Taking a couple of breaths there, so this slow pace of moving away from Shavasana. You might even decide you want to stay on the side of the body, that's fine by me. Or perhaps you start to gently push your way up into a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. Maybe closing the eyes or softening the gaze. You could place the hands onto the heart space, bring the hands into Anjali Mudra, Lotus, something else if you have it. As we inhale, press down through the seat, lift the crown of the head to the sky. As you exhale, drop chin to chest as we take a bow. Thanking yourself for showing up, thanking your body, your breath, your mind for carrying you through your practice. Thanking each other for sharing our practice. And of course, thank you so much for allowing me to guide you today. Hope you have a lovely rest of your evening, a lovely weekend, bank holiday weekend. And I will see you very soon. The light and dark in me honors the light and dark within you. Namaste.